Get loud, be seen, time to take the stage. Unlock your potential, let the world engage. Get loud, be seen, we're breaking through the noise. With every rip and roll, we'll rise and rejoice. Get loud, be seen, time to take the stage. Unlock your potential, let the world engage. Get loud, be seen, we're breaking through the noise. With every rip and roll.
What's up, Monty? How's it going?
Hey, we are in a new location, it looks like.
Yeah, and it's nice out here, I tell you.
Got a little wind blowing.
Uh-huh. Little bird action here and there. The leaves blowing. That's cool.
Man.
Another edition of Get Found.
Be seen.
That's right. That's right. And we're coming to you every Monday, and we want to give you content that's gonna blow your mind and inspire you when it comes to doing things online, whether it's video, whether it's online courses. Am I missing anything, Monty?
Boy, we talk about all kinds of stuff with
That's true.
stuff with business and online stuff. Yeah, we're all over the place with with that stuff. But I think focusing now, my focus, your focus has always been presence. So it doesn't matter if it's presence in live or in recorded or in Zoom calls or one-on-one or groups.
Boomly.
Boom. That's where my mind was going for a second there.
It's all good.
Zoom, boom. I don't know.
Zoom, boom.
and my focus has always been tech type stuff, either websites, domains, and now I'm dabbling into the whole ideal client world. And that's my new direction. Seems like I have a new direction every time we come on a show, Carl. But
Yeah, well, it's interesting because it's all connected. So
it is all connected. It's also interesting because it's a journey of a business, and it's
Right.
hey, how's this working? Hey, how's this working? And working doesn't mean am I making money? I mean, that's only one portion of it.
Right.
So there's a lot of stuff that I've been doing. It's like, yeah, well, there's either not enough people need help with that, or it takes too much of my time, or here's the one that keeps hitting me. They changed the platform and it no longer works the way that I need it to work.
Right.
Okay.
Or it's
That's
too
fine.
cumbersome.
Tech.
Or you're making money, but it doesn't make you happy. It makes you
Right.
miserable.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. So that's a neat segue. That is a great segue, because you can have a goal for something and set that goal. But if you have focused your intent as you go towards your goal, you might discover, hey, that's not the right goal anymore.
Right.
It might have been when you
True.
started. It's not saying, oh, you picked the wrong thing. It's just I'm moving along, and now I've discovered that's not quite the right goal. Maybe I just need to shift it, or maybe it's a new heading. I've done that recently. Whoa, I thought I was going to be helping people do this, but there's that tech thing happened, and now I'm like, okay, we'll just go off over here then. No problem.
Right.
Goals and
tracks.
intent.
Goals and intent. And that's a powerful thing. You know, it's interesting. You referred to an article actually last week. You shared it with me. And I think about intention. That's very important to me. I value that.
You say
And I know you
intent
do
a lot.
too. Yeah, I say it a lot. And then I believe in goals 100%. But as far as merging the two together and intentionally thinking that way and saying those two words together, can't say I've done that a lot, but it's been inside in me. You know what I mean? So it's cool. I'm happy to talk about this today.
Yeah. That is a great distinction. The difference between, and then actually consciously with intent, merging them together, because they are two different things, but they are on the same track.
Right. That's true. So track. Cool. Saw what you did right there. Saw what you did right there, Monty.
Plugging it in.
Plugging in. That's right. That is right. So I tell you, the difference between intent and goals when it comes to personal and professional growth. What do you think about that, Monty?
Well,
The
I like the
difference.
fact, looking at the two different things, that intent is emotionally driven,
Hmm.
and goals are specific steps.
Yes.
And so there's that one of the distinctions there, wherein, so I'm looking at that as, well, intent is kind of general direction,
Right.
whereas a goal is the specific road that you're on.
Right. Yeah. And I love that. I love that. You know what came to mind for me too? I thought of, you might like this too. I thought about a vehicle, a car, and I think about, intent is the fuel and goals can relate more to the engine. That came to mind for me, you know,
Interesting.
because I think about it, and I think about that because I think about the intention being inside of you and being your fuel and being your why and being the thing that emotionally drives you. You mentioned emotion, right? And emotionally drives you. And then when there are times when you can get to your destination with the vehicle, but you could run out of fuel, or you got to stay fueled up, and that helps you to continue on your journey. That's what came to mind for me.
Yeah, that's pretty that's interesting. That's a neat angle, that and how they play together, being the fuel, the emotions, because the emotions fuel you.
Mm.
And if you have no emotion, emotivation, I don't know, motivation came into there in place. I was trying to do something, but if you
Yeah.
don't have
No, you're going
emotion,
somewhere. That's cool. Yeah.
you're not very motivated.
Right.
And so if you're not very motivated, you are less likely to achieve your goals. So that's it.
Right.
I like that. I was kind of going, my brain's really going to the journey part. The goal is like the car driving to a place, but you pulled that in, and that's an interesting, the fuel and the emotion, and tying it through. I like it. That's cool.
Yeah. It's so important. Without it, it's hard to. I mean, and also, if because I think about it from a peak performance standpoint. Coming from the performance background, we always had to. I mean, we had some nights and days where we perform and it just wasn't our night or day. We should have stayed home. And then other times we were so fueled up in the why and why we needed to perform and wanted to perform in the occasion, that made all the difference. Whether if it was competing, we did a lot of competition back then, or if it was performing for a political figure or someone who is of significance, or it really meant something when we performed. That made all the difference in how we showed up.
Yeah, the word purpose.
Purpose. Woo!
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah,
There it
purpose
is.
behind our actions. So those goals are measurable targets. You can't measure your intent. But now I'm starting to challenge the thought. It's like, well, can you accomplish or achieve any goals without some kind of intent? I think that it's taken for granted. People get to the goals, and it's just they didn't define it. It's just kind of there. And it happened to line up.
That part.
And so what you said about consciously meshing them together, that would amplify the process, because we just defined the process. It's there, and now we've identified, it's only there if it lines up, and without intent, your intent will only line up by accident or by chance or by luck, whatever you want to call it.
Potentially, they're not guaranteed. You're
Right,
not guaranteed.
right. It's not that it will line up. That if it does line up, it's by chance, by luck, because
Right.
you didn't plan for anything, you didn't intend for anything, you were just going for the goal. Luckily, your
Right.
intent drove you to the goal, fueled
Right.
you to the goal. It was the right purpose. But if you sit down and identify that, not just the goal, but the purpose of the goal,
Right. The purpose of
there's
the
that.
goal. And
There's meaning, benefit, meaning. This isn't actually, it could be. The goal is the benefit. The intent is the purpose. That's the meaning.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah. Oh, that's deep, man.
That's getting deep. Let's move
That's
on.
getting deep. Ooh, that's getting deep. Chew
How
on that for
about
a little bit.
some examples of focusing on intent rather than just goals? So what we were just talking about. Well, how's that going to lead to more meaningful and sustainable outcomes?
I like that. I like that thought right there. I know for me, I think about, we've been talking about mind maps, right, Monty?
Yeah.
So even as one who speaks and presents, just even my journey in creating what I'm going to speak about, my keynote or my message, the mind map has been super helpful because I've been on a journey to tie in why I'm given certain points and what they mean to me, as opposed to, okay, I need this point, that point, that point, that point, and tell a story. That's important and that's powerful. But if I have whys behind it, I mean, my story. I did a message yesterday, and I gave an example. And what was it? What was it about? Oh, using our gifts, right? And this is for a youth ministry I work with, and it was cool because I was able to tie in the meanings. And the story I talked about was, of course, like the youth were like, I gave them the date, and they were like, "What? Are you kidding me?" But I gave them the date and when this story took place. 1984, but I said 1980. That was my answer. And my story tied in on a much deeper level than with my message, because I knew the intent in which I was giving with it. I knew my why and why I wanted to communicate it, and being able to map it out and using the practice of using my maps have helped me out in such an incredible way that I'm able to deliver in a deeper manner and being able to reach people on a deeper level. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I was just thinking about that intent part and what you were doing. And if you were a comedian, oh wait, you are, but no, if you were a comedian, a professional comedian, that's what you did. If you went, the goal would be to make the audience laugh.
Right.
But that's just telling a joke, I guess. But if you intend for the audience to have a good time, and one of the things for them to have a good time is to laugh.
Right.
So not only is the intent the fuel that's driving you and motivating you to the goal, but it's also the bigger picture.
Right.
That the goal is only a part of, and there's actually potentially more goals that make up the larger intent.
Right. Right. And then even the example like last night, I'm able to tie in what I'm tying in on a deeper level and reach people in a more meaningful way. It makes it more authentic and real for me. And
Right.
so therefore,
There's that next step.
right.
First, it's I'm able to deliver more because I see the bigger picture.
Right.
And then you can focus in on there's this goal to get to the bigger picture, and the reason why is this or that, and therefore that gives you that fuel.
Right.
Amplifies your fuel.
Right.
Not only am I fueled, now I'm super fueled because now I see I can refuel up there.
Right. And I'll say this too, that word you use, amplified, that's a whole other, what you said right there, just that whole phrase, that's a whole other podcast episode right there. You know what I mean? Just amplifying your why, because there's so many nuances to it. But we're not gonna get too deep. this is a deep topic. I guess we're seeing as this is unfolding.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the way a lot of these things do is
Hmm.
dive in and you realize, oh, it's not just this little small cave I'm crawling into. It's a huge network of giant caverns.
Right, right. Good stuff, man.
Yeah, general directions and milestones. That's kind of the intent and goals. Intent is your general direction. The goals are your milestones.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
So
Direction and milestone.
let's look at examples of how focusing on intent rather than just goals. Isn't that kind of like the one right before? I never noticed
Hmm.
that. Goals help individuals in achieving success and lead to more meaningful and sustainable outcomes.
Hmm.
I don't know. I guess the last
How's
one
that?
was more now in the now, and this one's more a little bit looking into the future.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of speaking to that a little bit too. Could we relate to that? What do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, what I was looking at is it's the here and now. You're in. Although I just described that it's not just the here and now. See, intent is in more places of, how do you put that? It's in more places in time. A goal is a specific time,
Hmm.
but your intent, what the article we were reading, this is where that what I started going to. It's the here and now. It's where you live. It's more flexible. Goals are more rigid and straight. But I just
Right.
described that intent is also the overlying umbrella, the general direction ahead of you. A general direction is not just right here in front of you,
Yeah.
because if you're 1 degree off, then you're way off. So
Right.
your general direction is somewhere out there. So I see the intent is the fuel for now. Your motivation is the here and now,
Right.
but it's still the fuel and motivation is also for the future.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
can't. It's like so you can't really quantify that, but which is a really cool thing to see. And so intentionally exploring that is a powerful thing. And just even you expressing that as that's it's good to have that as a discussion because that brings to light that okay, this is it's an overall umbrella and it's not really time bound. Where the goals are time bound, but the intent's
yeah.
not.
I'm even actually seeing more of a connection and a mesh together now, where it's like, I don't know if this is quite the right analogy, but you got your intent is the football field, and your goals are the yardage lines. They
Yeah,
they
that's
work
good.
together.
Yeah,
And if you can, and with intent, if you can focus and you can mesh those together and line them up, that's what does the amplification. That's the amplifying effect, is that, oh, I lined those up perfectly, so I'm fueled and motivated to get to these exact steps that brings me to the direction I want to go. And of course, the
right,
variable, no tech problems ever in the way.
right. That's good though. That's a great analogy right there. Because you want to hit those milestones, but the intention is the overall feel, and everyone on that team knows what that overall intention is, right? Or the overall goal. Maybe that's the mesh together, perhaps.
I think there's multiple
Multiple
angles
layers.
of this,
Mm-hmm.
because again, the playing field will be different for different people in different businesses and different target
Right.
audiences.
Right.
So whether it's a volleyball court or a football field, the framework is the same. It's your intent is going to drive your goals, and
Right.
if you focus on it, you can use your intent as the long term motivation.
Yeah, I love that. And when you said framework, I think that's a great word to use too, because even when I was referring the things I was referring to earlier, it's like intention can help make your framework more congruent, more powerful, more impactful. Whether if you have one or multiple frameworks in your business, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I think that, again, the intent being that underlying motivation for everything else. And if you can wrap that up into the framework, then that framework is powerful and can be used on multiple things.
Right. I love that. I'm gonna be thinking about this.
I think we're actually been talking about the summary for the last 5 minutes. By incorporating both intent and goals into our planning and decision making, we can create a more fulfilling and purpose-driven path to success, or we can amplify our results. However you want to put that, but that's basically what we were just describing for the last 5 minutes. It's like, man, if you can just get these things to line up for you in your circumstances, and the only way that's going to happen, well, there's 2 ways that's going to happen. You can go to the casino and see if it happens, or you can intentfully make it happen.
Right. And that's true. I love that. That's a great analogy. Yeah, you don't want to gamble it away. You want to be able to use your intent and even figure out what that means and align it with your goals. Absolutely.
Well, there's the other aspect of that too, of if it didn't pan out the way you wanted, if you didn't map it out with intent, you wouldn't know where you started and what you did and how to avoid doing it again, or where you went wrong.
Right.
Or where you could have done better. Any of those things. Back to the map. You can't use a map if you don't know where you are on the map.
Ooh, that's true. You got to know where you're at.
You got to know where you're at if the map is going to be useful to you other than a piece of paper.
Right. Hopefully you don't run out of gas.
I didn't intend to.
Exactly. That's a good one, Monty. This is
that was great. And then, like you mentioned, boy, that opens up other deep dives.
Ooh, this is one of those topics where you can go a lot of different places, but the topic is very important.
Yeah.
Very important.
Very overlooked.
Exactly.
People just, they're goal orientated.
Right.
And then they don't make their goals and they wonder why.
Right.
They didn't align their intent. We just discovered that.
Eureka. And that's in the title. You see what I did? That's in the title.
Right on.
So
cool. Well, I think that wraps it up.
I think we hit everything.
Thank you all for showing up and absorbing in all this great information.
Yes. And Monty, if you don't mind, I'm going to give a call to action. What do you all think about this when it comes to intent and goals? Put in the comment area what your thoughts are, because this is a very deep topic.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to know what you think. It might even spark a deep dive into a new topic.
Yeah. And if you would like us to dive deep dish pizza, if you want us to dive deeper, let us know.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. You don't even have to be on this topic. If you have something that you have a burning question, and you think Carl and Monty might give you a new angle, we'll give you all kinds of new angles.
Right on. Well, there you have it. You've been listening to Get Found
and Be Seen.
That's right. Talk to you later. Have a great week, y'all.
Get found, be seen, it's time to take the stage. Unlock your potential.